What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fun and Long.
Premature ejaculation there. Sorry.
I was really enjoying that countdown clock. It's great to have you with us. Here with my co-host, the Word of Drew.
We should stop. That should be the episode for this week. We should just come back next week.
Yeah, it's dynamite producing. Also here, our other co-host, Megastar Mark.
I want to point out that within 10 seconds I dropped premature ejaculation, so this is going to be This is going to be a doozy.
This isn't even the virginity episode of this show.
No, it's not even the virginity episode yet. Oh, it's week 7 of the NFL. I just want to before we start, I just want to do one quick thing. We have our good buddy Greg. He was missing in action. I just want to pull this up. Sad boy forever. Greg, who's just been lost at sea. No bets for the last 2 weeks. 0-10. We don't think there were any ambient bets, but maybe there were a lot. Maybe that's the problem here. 2 weeks, no Greg bets. So
listen,
sorry.
I was with this man in New York Comic Con. 2 weeks is what he's going to need to recover from that craziness. So
we'll see if he comes back.
Yeah,
we'll see if he comes back this week. We got our categories. We got Stripe Spiral. We've got a Foo Bar. We've got some sad boys to put on a sad boy boat. We're going to deliberate all these things. And let's start with last night's game. What? The Vikings over the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
I just was dumbfounded watching this game. And then I was even more confused when they would show replays of Brock Purdy throwing it into quadruple coverage where no receiver is even close.
Yeah. We've talked about it, though. Brock Purdy's a game manager, and he's a good game manager, but they were asking him to do way too much in that game. This is not what you want Brock Purdy to do. And obviously a lot of that was because of the injuries, which I know is not an excuse, but at the same time, the Niners were not at full strength on this one.
No, and there's always a good team that has an aberration like this. Yeah. If you remember, we were talking about them last week. If you remember the 99 Rams, one of their 2 losses was to the end zone this way Eagles. Now, Grant, late in the year, starters, I don't think played the whole game, but even so, every now and again, you just, you trip over the turf monster and you drop one that you should win easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Purdy threw 2 picks. Christian McCaffrey fumbled.
Yeah.
George Kittle got hit in the nuts by somebody.
Yeah.
A lot of nut shots this week.
Yeah.
Seemed to be a theme.
Well, the NBA season starts tonight, so in honor of Draymond Green, just all the nut shots.
Yeah.
How many NBA references can be packed into this episode?
I'm
excited.
I drafted my cousin.
It's true.
In our fantasy basketball league. Yep. And then I texted him and I said, I want to let you know that I drafted Sabonis in the first round and I drafted you in the 12th.
Okay.
Did he reply to you?
He said, good move.
Light the beam.
Yeah.
Light the beam, Herder.
I pulled a homer pick in the third. I stretched a little bit just to take Wembanyama. I had to. I couldn't not.
I love
do
it.
it.
Why not?
Yeah, what's the point of not doing it?
Right, exactly.
Pop says he's going to run Wembanyama at the 3. That's a terrifying prospect for everyone. For the Spurs, for the defenses, for Wemby. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Why not?
I'm so excited for that game tomorrow night.
It's going to be fun. I'm going to watch it just because, like I said, he's generational talent, and I want to say I saw his first game.
He is, and we're getting off the rails here, but everybody talks about, he's the next big man, he's the next Shaq, he's the next Yao, he's the next whatever. I don't think he's any of those things. I think watching his game, watching his body control, and watching his play style, I think he's the next Kareem if he's anything.
Oh, wow. That's... He's healthy and not
he's going to be Kareem, but just his skill set and his body control and his intelligence, I think he maps after Kareem.
That's the thing. I mean, yes, the Spurs always. I mean, I don't want to say because Tim Duncan, very smart man. Obviously, yes. Robinson, incredibly smart. They're so good at drafting smart players who the team can build around and can be leaders. And I feel like I think in the NFL, I think a lot of teams, I think miss on that, especially when it comes to quarterbacks. Can this quarterback lead other people? I think is a very important, thing that is sometimes missed.
We don't give the Wonderlic test anymore.
Yeah, right.
Well, whatever test the Panthers gave out to CJ Stroud did not work out. whatever they rigged to give CJ Stroud to make him look bad.
Yeah.
David Tepper put some kind of geometry in there. I don't know. All right, the Vikings. The Vikings win. Somehow the Vikings are 3-4. They look terrible. It could easily be 0-6.
I'm going to bring this up right now.
7.
I've mentioned it off the air. And I figured this is a good summary of everything. This is the NFL's wet dream. What's happening right now?
Absolutely.
You have 30 teams that are around that 4-4. Obviously, we don't have that many games yet. Mark that are all technically. I mean, they're all in it. You have one team that hasn't won. Sorry, Ryan. And you have the Chiefs with Taylor Swift constantly around. This is everything they want. Everybody's still in it. You have the Chiefs with all the attention on them, which is what they love. This is perfect for the NFL. They cannot be happier with how things are going.
Unpredictability is what they want.
Yeah.
And they're getting it here.
Yep.
Do you want to say anything about Kirk Cousins? Our boy Kirk in this game? He's going to come back later. He had some unbelievable post-game moments going on. There's 2 or 3 things that are going to be in broadcasting moments, but
I'm interested to see where Mr. Cousins goes in the Orton line this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So,
are we officially going to unveil that next week? Is that the plan?
This coming Sunday at 8:00.
Yes.
So the like how they pick the Pope, me and Mark and other Greg will convene.
Yep.
We will huddle into the conclave, and then when the white smoke comes out, the new Orton line will be ready.
Because I think the most fun thing about the Orton line is who is the guardian of the Orton line. I feel like that is very important, and that's probably the biggest debate of the entire Orton line.
At one point, the guardian of the Orton line for 7 consecutive years was Alex Smith, to the point where we actually made him the first knight of Orton.
Mm-hmm.
He knighted Alex Smith. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he really enjoyed that. We are going to unveil that next week. So
the Orton line will be ready.
That'll be ready for a big show. All right. Well, the 49ers will probably bounce back, and the Vikings, I don't think this is. I mean, Jordan Addison had a wonderful game.
5 touchdowns, I think he has.
Floated my fantasy team.
Yeah,
he was
good. Very, very good.
Good in this one.
He'll be great when Justin Jefferson leaves next year. So.
It's so true.
He ain't sticking around.
It's so sad.
No
so
chance.
True. He's out.
Oh yeah, he is mentally just picturing himself with a star in his helmet. That's all he's doing right now.
He'll be on the Eagles. The way things are going, the Eagles just get everybody. All right, the other game in the what category is the Patriots get off the schneid and beat the Bills in a weird, another bizarre game. I was just dumbfounded the whole time. And then we got to see stupid Mike Gesicki do his stupid dance, which was awful. His awful dance. Go ahead.
I have a lot to say.
Okay.
Right now, the Sabres are up 5-2, which I think is very good against the Senators because, we needed Alex Tuck to bounce back, and he's really early season, kind of even a little bit of a drag. So this was a great coming out game for him. So I'm very, very happy that the Sabres are oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. Fucking embarrassing.
Wow.
And so here's another thing, too. People I'm reading online are blaming Dorsey. And you know me. I love to blame Dorsey. That's one of my things on this podcast is to blame him.
Yeah.
This is not on the offense. When the Bills were going into this game, they needed 12 points in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Right at the end of the game to get ahead here. Josh Allen got him 15 points in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay. When he left the field, they were up. Unfortunately, you're missing 6 starting defensive players. You're missing Matt Milano. You're missing Tre'Davious White. You're missing Ed Oliver. You're missing DeQuan Jones. All these guys who have really kept this team floating for the last couple of years, they weren't playing. And the Patriots knew exactly where to attack. That's exactly where I would attack. Dorian Williams might be good in 3 to 4 years. He's not good now. Terrell Bernard, if you can tell me who that is, also struggling, which is where they went, right over the middle, which is what you should do with a team that has guys who have 6 starts under their belt or 2 starts if you're talking about Dorian Williams. So they played it well. Bills, it sucks, but they're hurting and you're not getting these guys back. You got to adjust now or you can't adjust. My only thought, I have a thought about the Bills offense because it has started slow. They put up 15 points in 3 minutes, letting Josh call the plays. Okay. I'm only half joking about this. Could the K gun work with Josh Allen running the K gun? Like running no huddle, him calling plays at the line? I mean, it's going to be 90% passing, but that's no fucking different from what they're doing now. So, like, I kind of wonder, like, is that the next logical step is just let Allen call the plays, knowing that you're going to progress down the field a little bit quicker? Obviously, that puts more pressure on your defense, which is not strong. Anytime Von Miller wants to show up again, that'd be nice, by the way. He's been back for 3 games. Haven't seen him at all. I don't know. There's a thought I had. If they're trying to boost the offense, that's the only thing I can think of because, talent's there, I guess.
Here's a question. We haven't seen a lot of the hurry-up offense this season, have we?
No, other than when you're in, like, the 2-minute drill.
Yeah, if you're in desperation, sure. Right. But you're not seeing a hurry-up offense coming out of the second half. Like, let's get a quick couple of points here.
I don't know if that's like a scripted play sheet thing, but I do think this all ties together into the Orton line in some abstract sense, right? Like, I just don't think there's a lot of quarterbacks in the league that their teams would trust them to make those decisions at the line.
Right.
Now, Allen is probably one of them. But by and large, I think that contributes to why we haven't seen a lot of hurry-up offense in the league on the whole, except for in desperation, because there's just not a lot of guys who are capable of thinking at that rate.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Everyone, especially in Bills fans themselves are talking, they're all hating on Dorsey. And honestly, there was a lot to hate with that man and the way he calls plays, but I didn't. The Patriots took advantage of a crippled defense. That's what you're supposed to do. That's exactly the right way to win a game. Is what it is. Sucks,
this was the first time I watched the Bills and I thought this team was in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've stumbled a couple of times, but I was like, this was the first time that I thought this team might be in trouble. Like,
they got nobody.
It's their best hope right now is that they become one of those teams that gets healthy at the right time. Late at the end of November, making their push or whatever. But as it stands, they are in trouble.
Yeah.
Ultimately, sorry, keep going.
No, I'm about to say, like, the problem is the guys they need to come back are out for the year. Like, Matt Milano's not coming back this year. And Tre'Davious White's not coming back. Naquan Jones not coming back. They might get Ed Oliver in the next couple of weeks, which will help a little. But, I mean, these are crippling injuries to a defense that did not have backups. Matt Milano, up to this point, didn't miss games. Yeah. So they invested. I hate to rag on Dorian Williams, but he's a rookie. He's as good as he may be one day. He's not good now. So that's why I'm thinking, like, if they're going to have a shot moving forward, it's going to have to be to outscore people. How do you do that? The best Bills offense, as it's been over the last couple of weeks, has been when they're in the hurry up. So maybe make that your offense.
Yeah. And of course, really, the other takeaway here is that we really needed the Patriots to win a couple of games to get out of the Caleb Williams stat bracket. But then the problem is everybody else in the Caleb Williams stat bracket also won a game.
Well, you guys are, you didn't even give me a thank you. I mean, we lost that game for the betterment of the league to get the Patriots out of this thing. I didn't get a text or anything. I mean, you guys.
Wow.
Weird.
You also gave Bill Belichick his 300th win.
I know.
Which is upsetting.
Nah, he was going to get it one way or the other.
Maybe it's more impetus for him to retire and be gone.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you see that story that they signed him to a multi-year deal in the offseason?
Yeah, that was weird.
Like, okay. That's regrettable, probably, at this point. Do you think the Bills are still a playoff contender?
Not right now.
I don't know about a Super Bowl contender, but that's a tough division. They're going to have to navigate still.
It happens. It's just injuries. It's like when the Ravens got hurt, nobody felt bad for them. You just regroup next year. It just is what it is. So,
all right. Is there any fix in your mind? Is we run James Cook 20 times? Is that going to?
They ran him. He was fine. Like, honestly, he looked great. He had he had a receiving touchdown. I think he had a rushing touchdown. There's nothing wrong with James Cook. It's just they're a little slow.
Use him more?
Yeah, they're slow to get off. They're bad in the first and second period, and then they adjust and figure it out. But like the way they're figuring it out is going to that hurry up. That's what I'm saying. Like if you want to try something, try that. Just give it a shot. If it doesn't work, and I'm not saying do it all the time, but like I think trust in the guy to run a hurry up, which seems to be working. So we'll see. We'll see.
All right,
They got the
moving
Bucks
on.
this week, so that's
You should get healthy on Thursday with the Bucks. I mean, that's a quick turnaround from a
no,
tough
because they were
game.
supposed to get hurt. They would have been gotten healthy against the Patriots, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So. Anyway.
Also, the Patriots were, dying to win that game. Like, they really went all out to win that game. They did. All right, final what game in the category is the Ravens look great finally, and they destroy the Lions 38-6.
I think we all kind of had the same feeling about the Lions. Something who we talked about last week, or we talked a couple weeks ago about like maybe the Dolphins needing a punch in the mouth to kind of get them ready. I kind of feel like maybe the Lions needed that a little bit. They were getting a little arrogant.
The problem with this game for me was that this both reaffirmed my personal belief that the Ravens are good and reaffirmed my personal belief that the Lions are overhyped. But the problem is, I still don't know that either of those things is true. This played into my personal bias, and yet I remain unmoved as to the fate of either of these teams. Like, it seems like the Lions are still moving up, and it seems like the Ravens are still treading water, and yet this, like, if you had asked me in July how this game was going to play out, this is what I would have said, and yet I don't believe it.
Yep.
Yeah. Definitely Lamar Jackson's best game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked good.
He looked great in this one.
I feel like the Lions, though, had been feasting on kind of subpar games, where they're really putting up a lot of points against teams that you really can't defend it. So when they played a real one, well, there's another game that's coming up that we'll touch on the same theory. They didn't do very well. I think the Lions should probably still win this division. I think they could make it as far as the NFC Championship game. But I still can't see them in the Super Bowl. I just can't.
No. The Ravens are going to get blown out next week. Watch.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
This
is what the NFL wants. This is the parity that we've sought for so many years.
We're going to look it up. They are playing.
They're going to lose to whoever it is. Doesn't matter.
You want to re-guess that one?
Is it the Bears?
It's the Cardinals.
Oh. They're going to lose to the Cardinals.
Okay. Watch. Wow. Bold take, Ryan.
Greg's bets.
Cardinals. 14-point favorite. Blow them out by 14 points.
Cardinals win by 14. We'll check that next week. Probably not going to happen. All right. Really quick. The ballad of the 2023 Carolina Panthers felt like a victory this week. Got to be honest. Didn't play. Didn't have to suffer through anything. No sadness for me. That felt like a win. A win is a win.
Like my dad during the Rich Kotite Jets era.
Oh, God. Rich Kotite. The worst coach ever. Yeah. All right. Well, we didn't play, so happy me. Moving on to the Caleb Williams dad bracket.
My favorite.
Our favorite segment every week. Let's check in on Caleb Williams' dad's favorite teams, the Bears. The Bears and the Raiders. Oh, my God.
I'll see you guys next week.
How are those Red Wings doing? You got the Spurs tomorrow.
He's gone.
The Red Wings are 5-1 and currently up 1-0 on the Kraken. Thank you for asking. I'm thinking about going to the game on Monday against the Islanders. Why the hell not?
Yeah,
why not?
Anyway,
wow. Tyson Bagley. Is that his name?
Sure. So the Raiders tried to sneak up on JT outside the dance, and it turns out somebody must have tipped him off. I blame Drake. And he turned around and launched a spear at the collective Raiders, because little did we know that living in the boxcar behind DJ Moore's refrigerator box was Johnny Unitas.
Oh,
no undrafted Division II quarterback has started a game in the NFL since 1950. So naturally, he smokes the Raiders.
He wins.
And it's not like he was playing all that protective.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
in the first half, his yards per completion wasn't great, but in the end, he had a pretty impressive stat line against what should be a professional defense. And
the Bears scored 30 points.
I know, without Justin Fields, which just makes that all the more compelling.
Wow.
But I don't know. I don't know. The Raiders are bad. I don't know what to tell you. They're just a bad team. Well, what did I tell you last week? If they weren't careful, they were going to be over 500.
Yeah, right.
Not so fast, my friend.
They went ahead and snapped that. But, it's like, to bring up, growing up with my dad and my brother in a Jets house again, my dad and my brother always had a theory that it was never Dan Marino that beat the Jets. It was always when they knocked Dan Marino out of the game and like some rando walked in to beat the Jets. Like, here comes Scott Mitchell. Here comes Cleo Lemon. Here comes Jay Fiedler. And like those dudes would step in, and look like freaking Mozart throwing the ball around the field. So the Raiders are bad.
As a Bills fan, it was always Ray
track.
Lucas.
Yes.
Lucas was the one who always killed
Ray
us.
Lucas, pride of Rutgers, comes in and starts lighting people up. But just for the record, Josh Jacobs averaged a whopping 3.1 yards a carry again this week. Now, if you run him 4 times, that's 12 yards, right? Everything's great. But yeah, it's it ain't good.
Brian Hoyer was not good.
No,
specifically,
who didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Brian Hoyer was bad in this one.
I felt the other guy gave it was Aiden O'Connell. Right.
Yeah.
He at least gave him more upside.
Aiden O'Connell, I don't think is good either. But at least Aiden O'Connell is an unknown commodity.
Right.
You're not sure he sucks. You're sure Brian Hoyer sucks. I did appreciate prior to Sunday's game, Devontae Adams had a press conference where he basically said, for us to win, you need to give me the ball more. So we're already at that phase of the season.
Yep.
Him and Justin Jefferson are both going to get traded.
Yep, he'll be out.
Oh, yeah.
On the plus side, you don't have to pay
Derek Carr and Aiden O'Connell.
I was going to say, you don't have to pay Josh Jacobs next year, so there's that. So
yeah.
get
rid of him.
Now you know.
You're freeing up cap space all the time.
There you go. You're going to have $15 million to play with.
So. You can have Aiden O'Connell, and that's about it. No Devontae Adams. N'Keal Harry.
No.
Maybe we can get him.
Sure. I'm sure he's selling used cars right now or
he's
whatever. He's available. Jones will be out there again.
Yeah, right.
You'll have Caleb Williams. You'll be all right.
You're in the sweepstakes. You're in there.
That's where he wants to go. I mean, like that's his favorite destination.
I know.
So.
Okay. Also in Caleb Williams' dad category, the Giants beat the Commanders. This game was awful.
Yeah,
it was absolutely awful. I have a stake in the Commanders in fantasy, so I was headed to the grocery store and did that move where you're listening to the game and you stop, like pull over at a gas station to see what's going to happen on this drive.
Oh, right.
One of those moves, and then like get to the grocery store and I'm not going to go in yet. I'm going to see what happens. Commanders are in the red zone. And then I kind of just bailed out. I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I listening to Commanders on the radio? So I went into the grocery store, went shopping, came back out, looked up the score because the game was about to be over. And they didn't score at all any of those points. And the Commanders were never able to score.
Mm-hmm.
But it did. The radio moment gave me this, which is delightful. The Giants were doing the broadcast, and Carl Banks is the color man on that. And we got the ultimate Homer moment when they threw to 10-second station identification. And he goes, like, oh, the Giants are going to go to station identification. You just hear Carl Banks go, ugh, into the mic. Just groan at this state of the Giants. And this is a win.
One of the guys at work, diehard Giants fan. We talk football all the time, and he wears his Giants stuff every time they win, so he hasn't worn it a lot. And he showed up to my office, stands in my doorway, does like that Superman. Remember when Cam Newton did the Superman pose? Did that, showing his Giants shirt, then hangs his head and walked away.
Oh, it's the ultimate Giants.
Saddest celebration I've ever seen.
Celebration.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, Barr must be bumping. Dayball finally got a win.
At least it puts his heart attack off a week. Like, I mean, that's
right.
Does it though? It might happen in elation now.
Yeah, right.
He's going to the Roadkill Cafe now.
You never know where he's too high or too low.
Mm-hmm.
What a crap game. What an absolute crap game. Caleb Williams' dad, was he excited to see the Broncos win? The Broncos beat the Packers.
Yeah.
This was ugly. Again, ugly.
really is the NFL's dream this whole week. This is everything they wanted.
So let's face it. We'll get into this more later, but Caleb Williams' dad was having enough trouble looking at Utah.
Yes. Well, there was also the story about Caleb Williams wants part ownership for whoever he's drafted by. Do you see that?
Adore this guy. Like, I cannot wait to follow this as it goes through the draft.
Caleb Williams' dad, you got to pump the brakes, my guy.
Everything I want in just a chaotic draft prospect.
2 days before he plays Utah and loses, he's asking for ownership. He's not played a single snap.
I was checking his score. We were waiting in line for a haunted house. And I was checking the score of the USC game. And I think I texted you right in line after it ended.
Meanwhile, Caleb Williams was in a haunted house. That is Utah. Yeah. Oh, God.
His nemesis. He can't go to Colorado. Aren't there Mormons there? Like, apparently that's his kryptonite.
Yeah. That's bad.
Right. He's got to go. Listen,
also, Sean Payton's there.
Yeah. Vegas is perfect. There's no Mormons in Vegas.
Yeah, they don't want that.
Maybe the outskirts of Vegas. But, yeah. Perfect.
I don't know, man. You get out into rural Nevada, there's some shit out there.
Oh, I'm sure. But in actual Vegas himself, he'll be fine. But in Denver, plenty of Mormons. So can't go there.
Oh, man. The Packers, I don't know what's going on here. They look terrible.
They're making me look dumber and dumber every week.
They look
I had
terrible.
such high hopes.
I'm not giving up on Jordan Love just yet. I actually think I've seen enough of him this year where I do feel like he is a starting quarterback somewhere in this league. So
he's certainly worthy of another year before they send him down the rails.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I kind of, I've seen enough throws where I'm like, oh shit, that was on a rope. That was good.
A nice ball.
Yeah.
He's not like Josh Rosen, where after a year the Cardinals were like, you know what?
Yep.
Nah.
Yep.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Chosen Rosen.
My God, that guy.
He had a hot tub in his dorm room.
Of course he did.
What is
he back to school?
He needs his own documentary as well.
He had so many parallels to Cade McNown. It was uncanny.
God. Seriously. Yeah,
Cade
seriously.
McNown.
What's crazy is like the other four quarterbacks out of that league. Obviously, Allen and Jackson are doing very well. And I would say Sam Darnold still has a chance at a career.
Ooh,
I would think so.
A backup, I guess.
Yeah, and Baker, I think, is a starter. So he's not he shouldn't have been the number one overall pick, but he's still a starter. He's still very good. So it's just amazing to me that he's out of the league after playing for 6 teams in that many years. I think.
Yeah, Sam Darnold is one of those dudes who now that he's withstood the initial shock, 10 years from now, he's still going to be on a roster somewhere.
Yep.
He's going to be like Rick Meyer, who you're like, this guy sucked, but somehow he had a 16-year career as a third stringer.
That dude,
Darnold's just going to hang on forever.
Yes. That dude 10 years from now is going to win a playoff game. And we're all going to be like, oh, yeah, remember Sam Darnold?
Yeah. It reminds me of didn't Rick Meyer start for the Lions at one point?
Yes.
And won a couple. He was feisty and won a couple games. Why is he still around?
I mean, you would remember when Rodney Peete came back for the Panthers that one time and led them to 2 or 3 wins. It happens. I think Sam Darnold's that guy. He's going to hang around forever.
I think he's way better than this guy, but as a Bills fan, I always remember that one random year, 10 years later, Todd Collins ended up in a playoff game.
Oh, with the Chiefs.
I would say the Chiefs, right? Out of nowhere, I'm like, wait, Todd Collins? Where the hell did he come from?
Or also for the Chiefs that year that Brock Heward came in and suddenly knew how to play football for 8 games.
There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with this. He's gonna have a very long NFL career.
Make a shitload more money than me.
Darnold, yeah, right.
We'll see what happens with Jordan Love. My favorite.
That's how this all started.
Yeah. Let's go back to Jordan Love. My favorite Rodney Peete story, going back to that, I've been listening to the Panthers doing this fun Cardiac Cats from the 2003 season podcast, which is really fun. And they were talking about Delhomme taking over for Rodney Peete in the first game of that season. And he was so cooked and he had been beaten down so much in the first half. They went to him and went, all right, we're going to bench you for Delhomme. And he was like, good, great. And everyone on the podcast was like, Rodney Peete was never happier than when he got benched in that first game and he didn't have to play anymore.
I remember when he, not in that first game, the season before where Rodney came in for the Panthers, I remember they were playing the Ravens and Ray Lewis came up and shook Rodney's hand before the game and said something to him, and they asked him after, like, what did Ray Lewis say to you? And he told me, Rodney, you're so old I couldn't find film on you.
For some reason, like when I think of Rodney Pete, I think of the really horrible quarterback competition between him and Detmer in Philadelphia. Like, which nobody won that. The fans didn't win.
Yeah,
neither
won.
Detmer or Pete really won.
You don't want to. You don't want to be in that. You don't want to be in that scenario. All right. Category forever 2-2.
The league,
Jaguars and the Saints had a game on Thursday night.
Those are two teams in the NFL.
That's right.
I fell asleep and I was like, "Oh, the Jaguars have this in hand. I'll go to bed." And then I woke up and went into work, and one of the guys I work with is like, "See the end of that game?" And I was like, "No." Fell asleep, and he's like, "Saints almost won it." Like,
yeah.
What? How?
I turned it on in the last like 3 minutes, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like this is pretty good
game. But then Chris Olave went off drinking and a driving and a speeding, and their season's in trouble again.
I feel bad for Foster Moreau because he's like that dude has been through a shit ton this offseason.
Right.
I think it was leukemia, right?
Yeah, he dropped that wide open pass, so
that sucks, and that's just by the way, like that's not an there was nobody around him. I understand, but like he did have to stretch out for it. It wasn't like it was like in the breadbasket. Okay, like I've read a lot of people like some of the articles I read. They're like, oh, he's wide open. I'm like, yeah, but like Carr could have put that in a better spot.
Yeah.
Well, the Jaguars somehow are looking good.
Doesn't feel like it though, right? You just feel like this team is going to lose the next like 5 in a row.
This is the same as the Lions and Ravens. I don't believe anything that I see from the Jaguars.
Also, Calvin Ridley in this game had 1 catch. Yeah. Like that seems odd.
Jaguars play the Saints. They're going to lose that game. That's coming up.
Right. This is a weird game. The Falcons beat the Bucks. A lot of weird stuff going on in this game. We had the Bijan Robinson is sick on the sidelines, but he's not sick, but he is sick, but he can't play, but he's dressed.
What the hell's going on there?
I don't know.
Okay.
That was weird. We had Desmond Ridder fumbling in the red zone 3 separate times and still winning. Somehow still winning. And we had Younghoe Koo kicking a nice game winner. That guy just makes them. He's good.
Yep. Yeah, he does.
He just makes him. But yeah, weird game.
So Bijan, they said he was fine, and then he felt sick during the game, but they didn't make any announcement, which I didn't think you were able to do. Like I thought the minute somebody got sick or hurt, you have to make that announcement for fairness or something, like to let the other team know, and they didn't. And I thought that was the weirdest thing. They just kept it quiet. They like pretended like nothing was wrong.
They had him dress. If he was sick, they had him put a helmet on, go out there and pretend like he was going to play.
He could get ready and then have the poops. I mean, I'm just saying.
I suppose, but then they already have Tyler Algier. What are they doing? Just fucking. He's a good running back. Like Arthur Smith is a weird guy. He's a weird guy. He makes weird choices. Kyle Pitts did a ridiculous one-handed, like LeBron James kind of a catch.
I remember Kyle Pitts. Good to see you around.
Yeah, really.
How long have you been in the NFL?
Yeah, where have you been? But they still threw multiple times to the other tight end, the backup tight end still. I don't get this team, but they won. Desmond Ridder's bad. Like he's dragging this team down into the gutter, but then they somehow pull it out.
So I feel like we'll talk about this a little bit probably during the Stripe Spiral segment, but like how many quarterbacks are going to get taken in this round in the first round of this upcoming draft? It could be like 5. Yeah.
The problem isn't it's a twofold problem. And in this case, the problem is not how many quarterbacks should be taken in the first round. It's how many teams are desperate and will take one in the first round.
What's the record? Is it 5 or is it 6?
I think it's I'd have to look that up. 5 rings a bell until you said 6.
Right. 5 was the Josh Allen Baker Mayfield year.
Yes.
There was 5 that year.
And also the John Elway.
Right, 83.
Yeah, John Elway, Dan Marino.
It might be 5.
Rutledge, Ken O'Brien.
Hold
on. The hell the 5th guy was.
Talk amongst yourselves. Most QBs taken in first round. 6.
Oh, it is 6. Okay.
2021.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep.
Wow.
That makes sense.
Wow. So, wait, what? Oh no, so 83 also had 6. Elway, Blackledge, Kelly, Eason, O'Brien, and Marino.
Kelly and Eason were the two I forgot.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How dare you, sir?
Houston Gamblers quarterback Jim Kelly.
I love that 30 for 30. The that
USFL?
whole the draft.
Oh, the
one.
83 draft
Am I
one.
reading this wrong? I think I might be reading. Anyway, it's 6. That's the record. It's 6. So, that could get tied. I mean, with the quarterbacks who are coming out this year, like I can think of 4 off the top of my head who are I think are first rounders. So
Yeah, and it wouldn't be that much of a stretch for 2 more.
Right, somebody's going to come out of nowhere. There's always somebody that comes out of nowhere.
Right. There's
Bo
some
Nix.
double A guy. Sorry,
I'm considering Bo Nix as a first rounder. I don't think he deserves to be, but I think he will be taken in the first.
Quinn
round.
Ewers.
Yeah. Although Quinn Ewers just hurt his shoulder. Depending on how long that persists, that could affect his stock.
Caleb Williams, May.
Sure,
right?
May.
Yep.
That's 4 right there.
Yeah, if Rising were healthy.
Oh, Sanders.
Shedeur.
Yeah, sure. Although he could go back. I don't know. There's something about him that I think he's going to go back to Colorado. But
I don't want
he's
your
not
laugh,
required
Daddy.
to, but I think he could.
I don't want your laugh.
I don't want your laugh.
I hope Shedeur says that just like that, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Arch
it's
Manning
like-
going to declare, so
Arch Manning might not even start for Texas. Like,
Wow.
he is a freshman behind a redshirt freshman, and this guy who's a redshirt freshman who's going to start the game this Saturday is a gamer.
Is he?
This dude is, he's a big deal.
I don't know. To me, like, this is a guy who's going to go to the transfer portal. Because I mean, there's no way Texas doesn't get Arch Manning out there just for financial reasons.
Yes,
right.
I hate to say that, but everybody would watch those games. So I don't know who this redshirted freshman is, but the fact I don't know his name, but I know Arch Manning.
But Arch Manning is in Texas.
Arch Manning should be the quarterback. So, anywho.
All right, one more in this forever 2-2 category is the Seahawks take out the Cardinals. I don't think there's much to say in this one. It was about what you'd expect.
Fuck Pete Carroll.
Oh, right. Yep. We got to make sure that's in there.
Of all the games in the NFL that were played this weekend, that was one of them.
When does Josh Dobbs get Jaylen Brown money?
I don't know that Josh Dobbs will ever be worthy of Jaylen Brown money.
No.
Yeah, okay.
But he might get Jaden McDaniels money.
I saw that. Yeah,
He might
$100 million for Jaden McDaniels.
Jaden McDaniels is getting $30 million a year. Everybody, what a time to be alive!
Dobbs has definitely played himself into another contract. I mean, you got to say that. He's a backup somewhere.
Right?
Yeah.
There's among people I work with. There's been an active debate about how much money can Brock Purdy command if he wins the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And I don't see Purdy making Jaylen Brown money.
No,
I don't. He just doesn't strike me as a we got to give this guy $50 million a year kind of guy. I think he gets like a Derek Carr deal.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I'll give him Derek Carr money. That was what I was
Derek Carr money.
Yeah, right.
He's going to come away like $25 to $30 million a year, and that's going to be perfect for the Niners.
Totally fine.
All right. Next category is home field advantage. The Steelers played in a home game in the Rams Stadium against the Rams. That was the loudest I've ever seen so far, I think.
God. How about my Steelers? I'm just telling you, they're doing great.
This was the same when the Steelers played the Raiders. You would have thought it was a home game.
Yeah.
But but more to the point, I'm starting to buy the Steelers a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
And I baby hands.
I feel shitty saying that because I
You're
feel
in
like
on
it's going
baby
to bite me.
hands.
But if their defense stays healthy, their defense is good, and they manage to magically conjure up points every week. And
they got a great coach.
I don't know.
I mean, that's I think at this point, a guy that can outcoach you late in games like Tomlin can, I think that's very valuable. I'm buying the Steelers, my boys.
Given that the Browns are the most confusing team in the league, and yes, I heard you, and the Ravens are falling apart,
but they blew
and the
it
Bengals
up.
might as well pack it in. Why not the Steelers?
They have really good skill positions. Jaylen Warren, I think, is good. I've been thinking of that for a while. Why don't they use him more than Najee? But Najee scored in this game. Pickens is good. Deontay Johnson. They have the weapon. It's just baby hands is very erratic. He's got the tiny, tiny hands, the hands of a rat.
I gotta get smaller every time.
For all that acrimony about, what are the Steelers going to do without Chase Claypool? Apparently, the entire league seems to be able to do without Chase Claypool.
Yeah,
so
right.
No major loss there.
We'll talk about it, but he might be like a monkey's paw. No matter where he goes, there's something horrible that follows.
Oh no!
But the ice cream is cursed.
Yeah.
All right.
The toppings.
But the topping is cursed.
The NFL is through the roof. It's tight end day. It's friendship bracelet day.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs beat the Chargers. The Chiefs' offense looked great. Kelsey had 1 billion yards. Mahomes threw for 400.
Oh God!
I don't think Herbert's good. I don't think Justin Herbert is good.
Oh no, he's good. He's just the team around him they give him no help.
I don't think he's good.
The knock on Herbert among football people coming into the draft, which feels like ancient history now, but the knock on him then was that he had no killer instinct at all. That he was a very good quarterback, bless you, but had no kind of like they used to say David Robinson was too nice, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Not that Herbert's too nice, just that Herbert is kind of like a West Coast surfer kid.
Yeah, he doesn't care if he loses.
Maybe, and even that's probably too strong. Just he's not sociopathic about winning, which in our current football climate we view as a detriment.
Right.
I don't know. I still think Herbert is well above the Orton line. I think I think he just needs help. He needs a better coach. I think even Chargers fans will admit that this guy is not it. He's just he is a position. He's a Peter Principle dude. He is a guy who will be a fine coordinator for 30 years and probably get to run Auburn. It's not Auburn, Baylor at
Southern
some point.
Miss.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Southern Miss. So I don't know. Chiefs look great, but once again, how much of this is because they're playing against teams that have massive problems? I don't know. We'll see.
Here's the only thing I want to add as far as the Chiefs are concerned. I am not a conspiracy theorist, and I am not, in particular, a sports conspiracy theorist. But with Taylor Swift lording over them from a luxury box like Emperor Palpatine, if the Chiefs win 13 games this year, the fix is in.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, though, their schedules, I don't know how they were the best team in the league and got such an easy schedule.
They get to play the Raiders twice.
I'm just going to run through real quick, okay? I'm going to run through the rest of their record here. What are they right now?
Something and 1.
6-1. They're 6-1. All right. I'm going to run through it right now. They play the Broncos next. That's a win. That's a
win.
Dolphins, but it's at home. I'm going to say that's a win.
Yeah.
7. No, wait. 7, 8. Eagles.
Lost.
I'm going to give the Eagles that one. No, I'm going to give the Eagles that one because I like the whole revenge factor. All right. So they lost one.
Home or road? Are they in Philly for that?
They are at home in Kansas City. I don't know. All right. Then Raiders.
Win.
Okay. Packers.
Win.
They're losing the next game against a certain plucky team that will be running the K gun at that point. So
I thought you were going to say the Rams.
No. A plucky young team.
My Steelers.
Yeah. And then they play the Patriots.
Win.
Okay.
Raiders again.
Win.
Bengals.
Win.
Chargers.
Win.
Yeah.
There are maybe 3 games left that are even potentially could trip them up.
If they lose those 3 games, they'll finish 13-4. The fix is in.
Oh my God.
Unless the Raiders beat them twice.
That ain't happening. Listen, the AFC West is one of those divisions where sometimes somebody gets weird Popeye spinach strength and beats somebody they shouldn't beat, but it doesn't happen twice.
More so than any division. I always feel like the AFC West is the wackiest one where you're going to get those weird upsets.
Genuinely hate each other, and that makes a difference.
Right.
All right. Final category. Slobber knocker. The Browns and the Colts had an amazing, crazy game where they were just scoring left and right. Gardner Minshew rushing touchdown.
I love Gardner.
Dance twice. What's his name? The running back who's been on an out finally showed up and did something and scored. Thank you. Myles Garrett hurdled a man and blocked a field goal.
He's so good.
Unbelievable.
He
didn't even have to swing a helmet at a guy.
Yeah, right.
This game reminded me of, remember there was that playoff game
Wild.
like 20 years ago where it was like, I think it was Browns Bengals, where it was like Kelly Holcomb versus
Yes,
somebody.
Kelly Holcomb went for like 400
Yeah.
yards against
Right.
Carson Palmer.
Carson Palmer, that was the other, and it was just like chaos. It was just nobody could stop anybody. Nobody knew what was going to happen. There were blocked field goals. People were jumping in from the stands. Like that's what this game felt like to me.
This was like when Gus Johnson used to call NFL games, and he would just get the
Yes.
weirdest game. He'd be like, the Jaguars, Stokely, oh my God. Like, who
I love
cares
that.
about this game ever, except for Gus Johnson's doing it now. Mike Thomas, like that one. Like,
collectively, how do we feel about the Colts' black helmets?
I like them.
I think I hate them, and that's
Really?
rare for me. I usually
Yeah.
like alternate helmets. I don't think I like the Colts' black
no.
helmet.
I kind of dig it. I'm a sucker though for like that look. I feel like it's very bold, you know. So I'm okay with that.
I like the dark blue jerseys, I guess.
Yeah, the jerseys.
But if
I
they had
did.
a
The
white
helmets
helmet-
were weird.
They did the white helmet, it probably would have made more sense. I don't know. Yeah, this game was weird. This game was weird. And then we had to hold the Deshaun thing where Deshaun was out for a concussion but
Love
didn't have
this.
a concussion. Then never came back in. Then Stefanski said he held him out on purpose.
More.
And
Give me
I
more of
don't
this.
know if that's true or not.
You're stuck with him. You got no chance.
This
There's
is-
no option, baby.
This is
You are better without him, and I love it.
I'm referencing this event only for the specific allegory to this one event, and I am not making a larger statement about any people involved. This is quickly becoming one of those Vladimir Putin stole Robert Kraft's Super Bowl ring and then said it was a gift, and Kraft came back and was like, yeah, totally. Like, that's where this is headed.
I just adore that they are better without him, and they're stuck with him. They can't do a thing about it.
Didn't he
they
say
are.
in the didn't they ask him in the post game like, "Oh, you gonna be ready for next week?" And he's like, "I don't know, my shoulder."
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
he was already back on the
Listen,
shoulder.
Deshaun Watson is a scumbag piece of shit. He has no incentive to play. You've given him his money. He's going to get it. That's the whole reason of these guarantees is to incite you to keep playing. You don't give him the whole contract.
He's already making Jaylen Brown money, and who knows, his shoulder may hurt because clearly he's probably not getting massages anymore.
Yes, that's right. I'm so on board with this.
Oh no. Oh no. All right, and the last game of the week was for us to cover was Eagles over Dolphins, which was supposed to be awesome and didn't quite get there because the Eagles just out-muscled the Dolphins.
We all called this.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins are too flashy. They're too finesse.
The two teams that they've played that were, even though the Bills at the time were competent, they weren't crippled at the time. They got blown out both games by like better teams. And that's, I think, is a concern because they are feasting on crap teams and losing to the good teams. That's not a recipe for success.
I agree with everything both of you have said. I will add this one thing. As a Raiders fan, I really became allergic to the idea of wide receivers who couldn't do anything but run in straight lines very fast.
Mm.
What the name's James Jett.
James Jett, but then there's a long lineage starting with James Jett that continues all the way through until Darius Hayward Bay.
Mm-hmm.
But Tyreek Hill, holy shit, that guy is just different, man.
Oh yeah,
he just is, and I don't know that he's a great human being either, but man, is he fast?
Yeah,
he is so fun to watch. He has Barry Sanders qualities of like, just got to watch this guy. He's going to do something.
He's going. Yeah.
He's going to do something.
That guy over there, he's going to do something. I know it. Waddle got hurt again, right? That's a lot of injuries for this guy already.
His injury at Alabama gave rise to a Heisman Trophy winner in Devontae Smith. Like, This is Willis McGahee with Clinton Portis all over, or Frank Gore with Willis McGahee and Clinton Portis all over again.
It's unfortunate because like he is such a talent. Waddle's such an amazing player, but like it's a lot of like soft tissue, a lot of like these little things that just linger.
A lot of Kawhi Leonard injuries.
Yeah, and those typically don't go away. So
no. I'm trying to find a Yi Jean Leon reference here in the last 20
All right.
minutes, but
I'm gonna
I
look real
can't
quick.
get him in. So Yi Jean Leon, Chinese government chairman. We need to get him. I'm just throwing it out there haphazardly.
Greatest workout video in the history of workout videos.
Yes,
2 weeks. We got Dolphins Chiefs. That should be fun.
I like that.
Oh God, it's
Take
in Germany.
Take the over.
Gross.
Oh, it's in Germany.
Yeah, so it's gonna be
take the
12-9. So,
Ah, no.
with 12 injuries on each side.
Ah. All right. That's all the games. Time for a sad boy vote. We got 4 spots. Why don't you give me some nominees? Who we know Dayball this week. He was happy.
No Sean Payton either. No captain of the
Well, I don't know. Did you see that press conference at the end where he came in and insulted the media and said I was happy until I saw you.
That's more bitchiness. That's not sad boy.
What are you upset about? You won. And he's like, we didn't do good enough.
Yeah. No.
Sad boy boat can't be Belichick. He won.
No.
Who's on the sad boy boat? This is a tough one.
He was mad at the refs though, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, he does get angry.
I know he's an old man yelling at clouds.
Yeah.
Sad boy boat. Sad boy boat. Let's see. Not me. Not my Panthers.
No, you're fine.
Victory.
Sad boy boat. Caleb Williams, the man, not his dad.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's
Yes.
Certainly on the sad boy boat. Both because the prospects of teams he could go to got worse,
right?
And because his actual team got worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, we got one.
What about Dan Campbell? You're riding high and you lose this one, or you don't think he's affected
Jordan
by that?
Love, so long as we're in that division.
Oh
right, Jordan Love. All right, that's 2.
Jordan Love on the side.
I like Dan Campbell because he was very grumpy at his press conference.
All right, that's 3.
And who was that guy from the Commanders that said he was tired of losing for 7 years?
Oh yes,
Jonathan Allen.
Jonathan Allen. Yes,
Jonathan Allen.
That's tired of losing for 7 years.
So
there's more expletives than that, but that was the thrust of it.
Didn't really touch on it, but one step closer to that Maryland coaching job there for Ron Rivera.
Oh, this was brutal.
It's going to be perfect for him. He's going to do great there.
He's working his way up, right? You remember when you used to play Mark, you would remember the original Colonization.
Of course.
When you would retire and it would based on your performance in the game, it would tell you what you were. So at the bottom you were an infectious disease, and then later on you could get a bridge or a school or a football team named after you or whatever. He's working his way up. Right now, if he were to take a coach, he'd be coach of Boston College. Yeah. He's working his way up towards Maryland and then ultimately up towards Minnesota or something like that.
Oh, Minnesota, another really good one for him.
That'd be great.
Those are both so dead on with his personality.
Ron would love that.
Yeah.
They got PJ Fleck right now. I think they're invested in that. But a Minnesota type school, I could see him taking over Wisconsin.
Yep.
I could see him taking over A&M after Jimbo gets his Charlie Weiss money. There's a lot of possibilities here.
Charlie Weiss.
Colonization, Drew?
No, we're not going into that story.
We had some questionable decisions in that game.
No.
Anyway.
We may have done some things.
Anyway.
All right. Time for broadcasting moments of the week. Our boy Mike McDaniel had a loss, but he was in the news. We got this behind the scenes thing of him talking to the refs, saying, "Thank you for showing me respect. Great eye contact. Great firm handshake. I'll treat you with respect if you treat me with respect." Then we had an 11-minute NFL Films did a little spotlight on him.
I heard it's excellent. I haven't watched it yet, but it's on my little my save list.
Him talking about how he was an alcoholic and got fired and tried to had to crawl his way back to the NFL.
I heard it was excellent.
Pretty good. AJ Brown, this is going to make Greg even more sad. AJ Brown has more receiving yards this season than the entire Titans receivers have combined.
He is so good.
He has 809 and they have 789. Yeah.
And it's not like he just got good because he's on the Eagles.
No,
he posted some very good years for the Titans as well. So this dude is just on fire.
We have this, the dead caught fish.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
It's not
Tyreek
quite the Saints leapfrogging each other, but it's up there.
No, that was good. We have this, which I think was a spear that happened in the Alabama prior to the Alabama game.
Go Berg.
Let's Let's see
I
that
like
again.
Goldberg. I don't care.
Blam!
Oh,
everyone loves Goldberg.
Okay, this was just great. Kirk Cousins getting the top 10 chain from the Vikings at the end of the night, which just made me laugh because I know it was supposed to be a SportsCenter top 10 reference because they were going to be on afterwards, but it just like he's only at the top 10 of quarterbacks. Like that's what it read to me.
You know, I can't help but notice this was their first game after he said he was not going to waive his no trade clause.
Right.
Was that like his Tim Tebow moment? Like, are the Vikings now going to ride this to glory?
He is the whitest guy.
Oh, it's gonna get whiter.
Yeah.
It's gonna get whiter. Well, first of all, we've got the human limbo celebration from the Vikings.
You know what? I'm okay with this. I'm here for this. This requires some creativity.
Shades of the USFL video.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? I especially am here for this because that one guy is way shorter than that other
Yes.
guy, and they still made it work.
Yeah. The Vikings faking injuries and Joe Buck going after him. That was fun.
That was great.
We caught you, Kevin O'Connell. We got you.
Go down.
I got you, Kevin O'Connell. This was fun. Stats on Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift in attendance, 99 yards. Left to his own devices, 46 yards a game.
That's good.
This I thought was fun. Frank Michael Smith on whatever you call it, Twitter, X, whatever, was a thread of plays banned by the NFL. We're talking about the tush push. We had the penalty clock drainage. Everybody holds until the clocks expire, but the NFL fixed it. The game clock has to reset as if it were a snap. We've got the Deacon Jones head slap. Just him slapping dudes in the face. We've got
when concussions weren't created yet. So
jumping the line here. This is we see Bobby Wagner pulling this off. He can't do this anymore, but jumping over.
Unless you do what Myles Garrett did and clear the line without touching anyone.
Right. Yes. We've got the fumble Rooski. Legendary Raiders play. Punching the ball, which is after a fumble when you punch it down the field for more yards.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yep. You punch it.
It's kind of ballsy.
Try to punch it out of the end zone there. I like this one, the Belichickian time waster. I used to do this in Madden. It's only right to see Belichick show up on this thread. The loophole had to be changed so the clock would start on the snap rather than the play clock. So you can see he would get an intentional delay of game and then go again to get another intentional delay of game, which was fixed. Blocking field goals from the end zone. I thought this was interesting. You put Wembanyama back there.
Oh, yeah.
Try to block a field goal from the end zone.
That's clever. That was when the end zone, the goal posts were right at the front of the end zone.
The Chiefs used to post up 6'10" Marcus Stroud in front of the post to swat away kicks.
Oh, that's funny.
This is funny though. Baby hands, honorable mention. The fake slide.
Yeah.
The fake slide, which is just him almost falling down and continuing to go, I believe. But I thought this was a fascinating set.
Yeah, the one I always remember is like the defensive line can't draw you off sides anymore. They used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, what was the one? And this is a long chain of stupid events. But what was the one? It was Patriots against the Ravens, and Belichick ran some bonkers formation that was technically legal, and it caught the Ravens completely flat-footed, and Harbaugh complained about it after the game. And
sounds like something they would do.
And then I remember Belichick's response to that was something along the lines of like, "It's not my fault they don't know the rule book." And this is where the conspiracy theorist in me does exist. Is it like the next week is when the Patriots played the Colts, and it's not that much of a stretch to think that Harbaugh called somebody at the Colts organization and was like, "If you guys can get your hands on a ball, it's not inflated properly. Bill thinks he knows the rule book. Let me show him the rule book." and then billable hours for lawyers win over like the next year and a half. But to me, that's where it all started.
I can see that.
Wow. Interesting. Moving right along here, we've got Kirk Cousins again talking about how Creed, Take Me Higher, really pumped him up in the locker room.
Walking Cole's cash.
Really pumped him up.
How many damn Yankees albums do you think he listened to as a kid?
He loves Creed. More Vikings content. You know who I love? Paul Allen, Vikings radio announcer, I believe, is hilarious. Look up this guy on Twitter or on YouTube. Look up his past calls. He loses his mind on the Vikings during many of their meltdowns. There was the Josh McCown score when the Vikings were going to make the playoffs, but McCown throws a touchdown in the back of the end zone to David Boston. And he's like, no, what is wrong with you? There's the Brett Favre interception in the NFC Championship game. Well, he was at it again and basically said that the Niners need to keep their asses in check or something like that because of the fight after the game. And he said, sorry for the foul language, but throwing punches stop throwing punches at our players, but still much respect for the Niners. This guy is hilarious. Paul Allen. Look up all of the Paul Allen clips. That's broadcasting moments. And we even got a broadcaster in there, Paul Allen. All right. No Greg's bets, as we said. It's time for the Stripe Spiral. There's a lot to get to in this Stripe Spiral.
There's a lot to
discuss. Michigan stepped on their own dick, but not in a game.
It gets worse. All right, let's start at the top. So weekly check-ins, and then there were 9. We lost 2 more undefeated teams. There's now 9 undefeated teams. And then there was 1 undefeated team not ranked. The Liberty Flames, who are currently up 28-16 on Western Kentucky.
My boys.
Western Kentucky is playing the game tonight with 7 different versions of the Hilltopper on their helmet, one for each position group. It is awesome and adorable. They are currently playing. There's 11 and a half minutes left in the fourth. Liberty's up 28-16. I know I said Liberty won't run the table. They might. Also, and then there was one. Sam Houston State is now the only team in FBS that has not won a game yet because Nevada ground out a hideous 6-0 victory over San Diego State this past weekend. San Diego State, aside from the Western Kentucky helmets, has the coolest helmet in the game with the Aztec runes on the side. So Nevada's now won and whatever. Keep your eye out, an early sneak peek at games to watch this week. Tomorrow, Sam Houston State takes on UTEP in what might be their last best chance to win a game this season. They play UTEP tomorrow, and then they play, I think, Kennesaw State the week after that. That's it. After that, they're dead. Okay, so Michigan. Let the dick stepping commence.
Yes, it happened.
They did.
This story started out as one of those much ado about nothing stories, and the more that it goes on, the more it now becomes like, ooh, let's see what happens with this. Like, there's a sense of like, there's a sense of how Houston Astros was this. Like, how complicated is this scheme? And especially when you read this dude has like the perfect like bullshit alpha male like social media phenomenon personality profile where he's like, I analyze opponents' weaknesses and find out how to exploit them. I'm like, all right, you read The Art of War once, or at least you read the Cliff Notes about it. Like, shut up. So Michigan, by the way, like they look like a dominant 7-0, but they've also played nobody. There's a lot of schools that would be undefeated if you played their schedule. And I happen to think Michigan is pretty good, but it is also true that they have not been tested yet in any facet. So we'll have to see. There continue to be swirling rumors that there have been for like 3 years now that Harbaugh is going to jump back to the NFL Pete Carroll style because he knows that they're closing in on him. Because Michigan was already under investigation for something else. And this is on top of Harbaugh's like voluntary, not voluntary 3-game suspension at the start of the year. So like where there's a little bit of smoke, there might be a little bit of fire and start to close in on Michigan a little bit. And we'll see how long Jim sticks around. But in the meantime, not to be outdone, they beat Michigan State 49-0, and Michigan State, embroiled in their own scandal, also had to apologize for having Hitler on their jumbotron.
That was so weird.
Yep. You got enough. You got enough going on, Michigan State. What are you doing?
You're a Nazi. on our screen here to pump up the
let's
crowd.
Just air some random YouTube quizzes on our Jumbotron that we didn't ask permission to air. And hey, there's Hitler. So Michigan State also in trouble. Arizona State, who is only marginally better than UConn at football this year, made Washington sweat all the way to the end in what ultimately was a bad weekend for the Pac-12. Utah shuts down Cam Rising for the year, so he won't be playing.
Yeah.
But they still send Caleb Williams' dad into a swoon with a victory over USC, even though it should be noted USC was technically the underdog in this game. Utah was technically the favorite.
Yep.
Because Utah's 14, USC was 19 going into this game.
Mm.
Utah's defense is really, really good, but you also know that Utah is going to be the great ruiner for the Pac-12, as they always are, where they beat a bunch of teams and then they get into the Big 12 or they get into the Pac-12 championship game already having dropped some stupid game to Arizona that they didn't need to lose, and then win the Pac-12 championship and prevent all the Pac-12 teams from having nice things. LSU, no respect for our armed services, beat Army 62-0.
How dare they?
For North Carolina, Dre May looked absolutely awful.
Yeah.
North Carolina loses to Virginia, who is awful, and UNC managed to lose that game at home. Virginia, as you might remember, was a touchdown dog to William and Mary at home a week ago.
Wow. So Drake Mays, we need to check on Drake Mays' dad.
He's dead. We should check on as well. He might not be a healthy man this week.
He's not happy.
Toledo took a commanding lead in the MAC by going on the road to Miami of Ohio and beating them. Nebraska creeps toward bowl eligibility by beating Northwestern. Sorry.
No.
Speaking of Big Ten schools with scandals, Nebraska beat Northwestern. If they keep going to bowl games, then Riverboat Ron's never going to coach them.
I know. My God. He's going to end up in like Ohio or something. You don't want that.
Iowa and Minnesota, their football game, still thought it was 1948. Minnesota wins in a 12-10 game. Did you happen to see the end of this game?
Yeah, the punt return. Is that what you're going to reference?
Yes. So Minnesota wins a game 12-10 by kicking 4 field goals because Iowa could only lose a game this way. Iowa loses because their punt returner, with like a minute and a half to go, is penalized for, what the hell did they call it? An illegal fair catch, because he was waving off members of his teammates, which they interpreted as a fair catch signal, and then advanced the ball into the end zone. Only Iowa could lose a game that way.
Didn't he return it for a touchdown?
He took it all the way.
It was an amazing return.
Yeah, right.
Stadium's going bonkers, and then it turns out illegal return. So if you're keeping track, Ohio State, other games, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Alabama, Oregon, Florida State all win. Tennessee, out of teams with realistic national championship expectations, or at least for themselves, realistic national championship expectations, Tennessee losing to Alabama, USC officially eliminated. They are now 2 lost teams. Right. We're a week away from the official first college football playoff rankings. If you happen to watch, there was a game on Friday night between SMU and Temple. The only notable stat about this game is that the over-under for this game was 55, and it ended up being a push. And Temple scored 0 points. So that tells you about how good that game was. It was also, the 55 points was also indicative of how many people were in the stands. Coming up this week, we mentioned the Sam Houston UTEP game. That'll be must-see TV.
Barn burner.
And, but the window you're looking for this coming Saturday is the 3:30 window, because Georgia and Florida engage in the game that used to be called the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. I forget what the hell they call it now. And I know Florida on paper shouldn't beat Georgia, but that's always one of those neutral site, anything could happen games. BYU goes to Texas, who will now be playing with backup quarterback. BYU is always spry. There's always a chance they could take an upset on the road. And at the same time, Oregon plays Utah in a game for the loser of which will be eliminated from college football playoff contention.
Good slate.
So that's where we sit. That's where we sit right now.
Who's the Heisman Trophy leader right now in your mind?
Right now, the general consensus is that it's Michael Penix. If for no other reason than because his team is still undefeated. Everybody else, like, May has dropped a couple of games, and Caleb Williams has dropped a couple of games, and like Shedeur Sanders has dropped a few games. Travis Hunter has missed some time.
Right.
Bo Nix, I mean, Come on, Bo Nix won't win the
Bo
Heisman, will he?
Go Knicks.
Yay!
So, right now it appears to be Michael Penix who, will be the first retiree to win the Heisman Trophy.
He's created shuffleboard.
This is sort of, as a kicker note here, this is sort of the most dangerous time if you're the college football playoff committee, because there are 9 undefeated teams. James Madison is not eligible for postseason play, so cross them off. With all respect to Liberty and Air Force, they are not going to factor into the playoff decision-making, so cross them out. You're down to 6. And now you know that Ohio State and Michigan will solve that problem for you because they will play each other. But right now you're in that gray area where you could have 5 power conference champions who are undefeated. Because you'd have Washington, Florida State, the winner of Michigan, Ohio State, and then Oklahoma and Georgia. And that's the nightmare scenario for the playoff committee. And it won't end that way because it never does. But right now, that's a specter that looms on the horizon.
Interesting.
Definitely.
Lot to follow there. Michael Penix, Dad. What did you say? He's from the War of 1812,
I think
the
he's
Spanish-American War.
He was a veteran of the Spanish-American War.
Michael Penix, Dad.
Is Penix a senior?
Several times over, yes. I think he's at this point. I think he's technically a grad transfer.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
I mean, he won't get in the first round, but I mean, when did Whedon get drafted? Was he in the first round?
First round.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
so
like
he could get drafted in the first.
25 or something.
Joking aside, Whedon was older than Penix is now.
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
Whedon was legit 28 when he went.
I'm just saying.
Still possible.
Could
I
be
don't
6.
know the Penix profile's that way.
No,
I mean, somebody will talk themselves into him, but
right. I'm just saying, somebody comes out of nowhere, especially if Sanders declares. I mean, I think you could look at 6.
Wow.
Yeah,
There are definitely 6 teams that are going to take a quarterback, or that would want to take a quarterback.
Oh,
yes,
for sure.
Yes. As the Orton line will reveal, there's a lot of teams who are looking to replace their quarterback.
Yes.
All right, time for a football FUBAR. Who we got this week going to the Idiot Hall of Fame?
Well, so here's the funny thing. We already talked about somebody who I feel like is related to this inductee. We talked about AJ Brown, right? Earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's having a terrific season. I mean, I was looking at his stats. He has 672 yards on 42 receptions, which would once again comes to no surprise because he had done this before with Tennessee. Like, he already had a couple 1,000-yard seasons with Tennessee. Obviously, with those stats, he's projected to do even better this year. And he's done this all at the age of 26. But to bastardize something Charles Barkley said, we're not here to talk about good players. I want to talk about bad players.
Bad players.
Okay. So while Brown's career is just getting started at 26, let's talk about another Eagles receiver whose career ended at 26. Let's talk about Freddie Mitchell.
Oh, Freddie.
I think of Freddie Mitchell every time somebody has a down and distance of anything in 26.
Yes,
Freddie Mitchell pops in my head.
So Freddie was drafted in 2001 by the Philadelphia Eagles with the 25th overall pick coming out of UCLA. Now, Mel Kiper, huge on Freddie Mitchell, was talking about he had him as the 16th ranked prospect, and he had him above wide receivers like Reggie Wayne and Chad Johnson.
Oops.
We love you, Mel. We love you. That's fine. That's all right. And here's the thing. Unlike a lot of like past football FUBAR inductions, Freddie actually kind of kept his behavior under wraps for the first 2 seasons. The problem is he just wasn't very good his first 2 seasons. So if you add up all the yardage and touchdowns that he had playing with Donovan McNabb, let's remember that Donovan was there. Right. His first 2 seasons, he had 388 total yards and 1 touchdown. That's it. Okay. But he was on fairly good terms with everybody. Said Donovan McNabb was a good friend of his. More on that later. So the always tolerant Philly fans, after 2 years, definitely didn't consider him a bust and throw stuff at him. They did. His third season, a little better, but still 498 yards and 2 touchdowns over 16 games. Not great. But as Drew just alluded to, in that playoffs, in the division round against the Green Bay Packers, very famously, 4th and 26 in the division round against the Packers, he caught an amazing first down catch. Absolutely amazing catch, which led the Eagles to tie the game later on in that drive and then let them win that game in overtime. Now, the Eagles would lose the following game against Carolina, who would go on to the Super Bowl that year.
And lose.
But this breathed life into Freddie Mitchell. I want to pause, though, and let's remember, this is 3 seasons in. His total stat line is 900-ish yards and 3 touchdowns for 3 years.
Okay.
This is enough, though, where Freddie Mitchell in the offseason decided to trademark a couple of nice names here. So he trademarked Fast Freddy, the Sultan of Slot, First Down Freddy, FredX, claiming he always delivers, and the People's Champ, and Hollywood. He did not get a lot of these, by the way, but he attempted them.
I think there was another People's Champ there.
Yeah. You could have at least said DDP was also the People's Champ.
That's true.
So, he openly talked about how this was going to be his year, that he was the premier wide receiver in the NFL going into 2004. And his coach, Andy Reid, did not agree because they went on to sign some guy named Terrell Owens. And in this offense that Freddie Mitchell has struggled in up to this point, Terrell Owens posted 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns in the 2004 season. Mitchell began complaining about his lack of catches, ignoring the fact he just couldn't get open to begin with, and started to blame Terrell Owens. This is separate times at separate press conferences. He blamed Terrell Owens for his lack of production, Donovan McNabb, Andy Reid, and the Eagles owner for, quote, holding him back. Now, much like the previous year, Mitchell bombed in the regular season of 2004, but showed up in the playoffs. Once again against the Packers, where he had once again, though, very pedestrian. It was 6 catches for 65 yards. But he was still the leading receiver that game, right? Publicly thanked his hands for being so great during that press conference. And then they made the Super Bowl. The Eagles were in the Super Bowl.
They finally made it.
Unfortunately, the New England Patriots dynasty, which was in its early run but was still well underway. In the Super Bowl press conference, he pretended like he didn't know who any of the Patriots cornerbacks were and said the only person he knows on the Patriots defense is Rodney Harrison, and he has, quote, something special in store for him during the Super Bowl. The Patriots, of course, won the Super Bowl and held him to 1 catch for 6 yards. After the game, you'd figure after being humiliated like that, you would shut the fuck up. Instead, he continued talking, calling the Patriots little girls and saying that they just can't handle how good he was. 1 catch, 6 yards. Let's once again remember that he's talking about all this and doing nothing to back it all up. Belichick, who normally is very straight-laced, said, quote, after the Super Bowl, quote, when it asked about Freddie Mitchell, he's terrible, and you can print that. I was happy when he was in the game.
Wow.
So when Belichick turns on you that quickly.
When he says something about you.
Right. After this, after the Super Bowl, Coach Andy Reid had enough. Think about all the dickheads Andy Reid has coached, by the way, and Freddie Mitchell is the one who broke it, who broke him. And so he shows up to training camp and he says, you know what, you can not do this.
Wow.
Andy Reid cuts him. He 26 years old, never signs on with another team. He goes to the Chiefs briefly and then never makes the team. And that's it. He ends his career, 90 receptions, 1,263 yards, and 5 touchdowns. A.J. Brown is projected to beat that this year, just this year alone, because of that. I mean, just blows my mind. Blows my mind. So Freddie walked away from the spotlight. Instead, he decided to embark on a new career. He got arrested a couple times for sending weed to his house in Amazon boxes, which I love that. Right. And then he spent 36 months in jail for tax fraud, not tax evasion. He had a plan, tax fraud.
Okay.
Really, truly, the more I did research in this, no person in the NFL made so much noise with so little to back it up on the field. It was just astounding. FredX finally delivers and gets into football foobar. So welcome, Freddie Mitchell.
That's a fun one.
That is a good one.
I remember him differently. I thought he was good when you started talking about him, wasn't he good?
Can we back up to the sending weed to his house thing? Did he mail weed to himself? It seems like he could have just driven it home.
He was getting, what I was reading is he was getting packages of 7-pound, 8-pound bags of weed delivered to him in Amazon boxes.
Okay, but he wasn't mailing it to himself.
No. He wasn't
okay, all right.
To Fred Mitchell from Fred Mitchell. No, he wasn't doing that.
That's what I was worried about.
Oh my God.
No, it was clearly from Nate Newton to Fred Mitchell.
Nate Newton's van.
Former football FUBAR inductee.
Right, he's in already. All right, that's a good one. Time for game balls. Got any game balls you want to give out, Drew?
Update: Liberty up 35-22 on Western Kentucky with 8.5 to go in the fourth.
There you go.
Game ball this week to Giannis Antetokounmpo for coming off the top rope and completely squashing the concept of Jaylen Brown money with his extension. All in on Giannis. All in on the Bucks. Let's go.
Okay. All right. Mark, you got one?
We already touched on it earlier, but Ron Rivera taking that next step toward Maryland. I'm really proud of that man. I think he's going to do a great service. Go Terrapins.
I'm going to give mine to Gardner Minshew.
Oh, I love
Just
Gardner.
some nice runs, that dance. That I really was into that dance.
I feel like he is destined to be a Bills backup at some point.
He's gonna be he's gonna start for the Bills.
The city very well.
He's gonna start for the Bills at some
He's
point.
got the mustache and the
Right.
whole thing.
Right.
Would you take Gardner Minshew over all of your quarterbacks right now, Drew?
No.
Okay.
But he can crush like a Michelob Light.
He can dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's because the problem is all of my quarterbacks still technically includes Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
And I think on a game over game basis, Jimmy Garoppolo is still better than Gardner Minshew.
Okay.
He is substantially more attractive.
That's for sure.
As Greg will attest.
Don't you dare say you would take Gardner Minshew over Bryce Young. You filthy liar. Don't you dare say it.
I'm not saying it. I'm not going to say it. I love Gardner, though. I love him.
Yes.
He's not better than Andy Dalton either. All right. Time for some plugs. What do we got on the music blog this week?
On Bloody Good Music this week, my cohort in arms, Chris, posted a scathing review of the new Blink-182 album that is highly worth reading if you get the opportunity.
Chris has some amazing opinions. I love reading this
Yes, he
stuff.
does. And the Blink-182 one is quite good.
Yes. Excellent.
Okay. Can't wait. Our plug is not ready yet. We are working on a new episode for the TGIF podcast, which will involve B characters taking the spotlight, or secondary characters taking the spotlight. So people like Kimmy Gibbler, Mr. Feeney. Who else is on the list? Gorpley, Karen from Step by Step.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
all of them will take them taking the spotlight. So it should be real interesting.
Does that include Salem the cat? Please and thank you.
That would have been, Salem's though, he's in it a lot.
Yeah,
like a lot of times he is the main character.
We already did the Time Warp episodes where Salem the cat is in all 4 GIF episodes, like bringing you through time, which was a lot.
Episode.
It was a lot.
We kept calling it the Time Ball episode.
Yes, because he swallowed a hairball that was filled with time, and that's how he manipulated time.
Sure.
And Pocket universe.
Yeah. Right.
Yes. Right. Secret Wars TGIF. So that's being worked on. What else? Give me one more NBA thing before we get out here. It's opening NBA night. Give me something.
Wembanyama tomorrow, 9:30 against the Mavericks.
Very exciting.
Who's going to win the championship this year, Drew? Who's going to win the NBA championship this year?
Man,
wrong. It's the Kings who will win the NBA championship.
Light the beam.
A friend of mine, who God bless him, is the biggest Miami Heat homer you can imagine, is trying to explain to me why the Heat will defeat everyone, and I'm like, you should believe that. He's like, they're so much better than Milwaukee. They beat them in the playoffs last year. And I'm like, you understand Giannis didn't play in the playoffs last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can think of a prominent person who didn't feature into that series.
Right.
But to me, like, Milwaukee, Boston, Phoenix, and I hate to say that because I don't like Phoenix, but I think that trade they made to get rid of Ayton brought them a lot of depth that they sorely needed. Yep. If Yusuf Nurkic is healthy, which he won't be, but if he is, they become very, very dangerous very quickly.
What about the Nuggets? You don't think the Nuggets can repeat?
I do. The problem is it's not that the Nuggets can't repeat; it's that the teams around them got better. You know what I mean? Like, and will they be able to take that level of competition? It's hard to stay healthy for that long.
Yep.
But the Nuggets,
they came out and they had a great run. It's real hard to
listen.
They're back in the NBA,
and they're that good, man. Like Jokic is probably the best player in basketball. Period. But there is stiff competition for that, and there hasn't been a repeat in a little bit, not since the Warriors. So,
right. Okay. Say hi to Yi Jean Leon wherever you are. Got to get him in again. All right, we're done
you should
here.
get him on the show. It can't be that hard.
Oh yeah,
right.
Him and Caleb Williams' dad.
Can you contact the Chinese government and see if it's approved?
Yeah.
All right, we're out of here. Peace out. We'll see you next time.
Bye.